Hi, I'm mrPSERIS. You may remember me from last week, but this week we're going to be talking about lesson 22, one-digit division with the remainder. This is the first part of lesson 22, and we need to remember that multiplication and division are inverse operations. So when we do division, we can check our work by using multiplication to see if we were correct. So if we look at something like 35 divided by 7, we can put it inside of our box, and we can say 35 divided into 7 groups. Now, when we do this, we end up getting 5 as our answer. In order to check, we can do 7 times 5 is equal to 35. So this one comes out evenly. But there are some times when we have problems that will have a remainder that might not divide evenly into a group, such as if we take 16 pennies and divide them among 5 children. If we take 16 pennies and divide them among 5 children, let's look at what happens. We take our 16 and we are going to divide it into 5 groups. Well, we know that 5 goes into 16 3 times. We do 3 times 5, which is 15. We have 1. We have no 0 to bring down or any other number, and so we'll simply write out in the margin R1. This means that we have 16 divided by 5 is 3 pennies each with 1 left over. If we look at a different example of this up top here, and we take the problem 50 divided by 8, we can convert this to a box problem by saying we have 50 on the inside and 8 on the outside. We know that 8 goes into 50 a number of times. So let's see. We'll try 6. So that would be 48. We would do 50 minus 48, which would give us 2. So we have 6, remainder 2. What if we had guessed wrong though? And we had said that 50 divided into 8 groups was something like 5. And we multiplied to get 40, and we subtract, and we get a remainder of 10. Notice, if we have a remainder of 10, we see that our remainder is bigger than 8. Well, then we would know that 8 could go into our remainder again. So we can never have a situation where our remainder is bigger than what we're dividing by. We're going to talk about the second part of this lesson. It's division by 2, 5, and 10. We talked about remainders before. I've drawn a chart up here to kind of show you what the multiplication of these different values looks like. So let's look at our chart for a second. In my first row, I have the multiples of 2 by column. So 1 2 would be 2, 2 2s is 4, 3 2s is 6, and on and on. The second row does the same thing with 5s. So in essence, we're counting by 5s. 3 5s is 15, 4 5s is 20, 5 5s is 25. In the third row, we have our 10s. 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s, 4 10s, 5 10s. What we're going to do below here is write up a general rule describing what is going on in this chart. So if we look at the 2s row, what observation do you make about the 2s and the multiples of 2? That's right. All of them are even. So as we go down the line, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on, all of them are even up to the multiple of 10. So when we put in our notes our observations for 2s, we're going to say all multiples are even numbers. Okay? Let's do the same thing for the 5s. What do you notice about the 5s as you go down the line? That's right. They all end in 5 or 0. And they alternate 5, 0, 5, 0 in their ending. What do you notice about the tens as you go down the line? That's right. All of them end in 0. These are going to be general rules that we use to talk about division by 2, 5, and 10. Let's look at an example using these principles that we just wrote down in our notes. If we have an example, and in A, we are going to determine if there will be a remainder. Except we are going to do this without dividing. We're going to do this without dividing. So in example A, we're going to have 16 divided by 2. What do you think? Will there be a remainder if we divide 16 by 2? Try not to use your chart. That's right. It's an even number. So we can say no. No remainder. In example B, we are going to use 40 divided by 5. Try not to use your chart to make your decision. Do you see the trick? It ends in a 0. So we can say no. No remainder. You guys are good at this. Let's look at C. In C, we're going to have 45 divided by 10. This one might be tricky, so be careful. Try not to use your notes. That's right, there will be a remainder, because we know that all multiples of 10 end in 0. And so if we have 45, we know that we're going to have a remainder. So we can say yes. There will be a remainder. Let's look at D. In D, we're going to have 15 divided by 2. Try not to use your notes. Remembering the rule for 2's, we know that in order to not have a remainder, it has to be even. So since 15 is an odd number, we are going to have a remainder. So remembering these general rules as we outlined in the chart, you can easily figure out if you're going to have a remainder or not in order to help you check your work. I'm Mr. PSERIS. Thanks for watching.